Welcome to the channel, my name's Shane. In today's video, we're checking out a pair of powerful yet tiny LED cob lights from the good folks over at Zhiyun. I always try my best to pronounce the name of this company, so bear with me if I happen to butcher it. The two lights that we're checking out are the MOLUS G60 and the MOLUS X100 Pro. These mini cob lights can be used for video production, YouTube studio setups, live streaming, podcasting, or for run and gun setups where keeping the size and weight down is important. I'll give you an overview of what you need to know, and then we'll test the lights out with some practical examples. I'll also show you some comparisons with lights from other brands so you get a good sense of what these are capable of and whether or not they hold up to the competition. Before we get into it, a quick disclaimer: Zhiyun, distributed here by Ozemu in Australia, have provided these lights for the review. No money's changed hands, and all thoughts about these lights will be my own. Zhiyun and Ozemu had no input into this video, nor did they get to preview this video ahead of time. If you'd like to check these out, I'll link them down in the description box. While these two lights look very different, they share quite a few of the same features. The X100 is a 100 watt light with a flat form factor, reminiscent of an old gaming GPU thanks to the larger active cooling fan. The G60 is much smaller, it's roughly the same size as a Rubik's Cube, while still providing 60 watts of power, and we'll test that out in just a moment. This also has active cooling, so you won't have any problems with overheating. Powering the lights can be done in a variety of ways. Both lights come with their very own AC adapter, so you can run it as long as you like via mains power. The power cables are roughly 5 meters or so in length, which is long enough for most setups. If you're in a situation where cable length isn't long enough, you can also power them via USB-C power delivery. Using a 30 watt power delivery with a 60 watt light will work, but you'll be limited on how high you can push the brightness. The great news is this will still work, but just not up to the maximum brightness. The X100 has another power method thanks to the rechargeable battery option. This makes the X100 extremely versatile for run and gun work, allowing it to be used up to 100% brightness without limitations. You'll get approximately 35 minutes on a full charge running the light at full power. Now, the runtime will be increased when using the light at lower power settings, but if you plan on blasting it at 100%, you'll get around 35 minutes. Up next, I'm going to show you how to operate these lights, starting with the G60. The power button is on the top here. Hold it down for a second or two, and you'll see the logo turn on, and we're good to go. Now, the dim control can be used in one of two ways. So as we turn it to the right here, it's going to get brighter in 1% increments, or we can turn it all the way to the left. Now, there's no hard stops, and it won't go back to 100% if I go all the way past 0. So you can get to 10, 15, 20% this way. Or say, for example, you want to get to 50% nice and quickly, just push this in. It gets to 50% brightness, and then all the way to 100. And you can see on the wall back behind the light here just how bright this is. And I'll show you a better example of this in just a moment, but we'll run this back to about 20% here so we don't overexpose the shot. And then we've got our color temperature control over here. So moving it left will be a warmer light all the way down to 2700 Kelvin. And then we can go all the way through past daylight around 5600, all the way up to 6500. And much like the dim control, if we're at 27 and we push this in, it's going to take us to 5500 Kelvin, which is your typical daylight. Hit it again and we go all the way up to 6500. Up next is the MOLUS X100 Pro. Now, if we take off this little side door here, we get access to insert the battery. So we're going to be running this off the battery instead of the provided power supply. Now on the battery, there's some terminals on this side. So all you need to do is click it into place the correct way. To remove the battery, again, all you need to do is push on this button here and it will pop straight off. But we want it on for this particular demonstration. The power button for this is on this side over here. So again, much like the first light, hold it down for a second or two, and you'll see the little LED screen flash, and there we go. So we're good to go. We're at 0% brightness right now. Our brightness control is over here, the dim control, so we can turn this up. And this will work in exactly the same way. So if we need to, say, push the button in, we can get to 50% or 100% brightness. You can see behind the light here, even with the softbox on, it's very, very bright. So this is great. And much like the prior light, we can change the color temperature in exactly the same way. So this will go from 6500 down to 2700 Kelvin. For those new to lights like this, if you plan on buying them, start at 5600 Kelvin, white balance your cameras, and take it from there. You can also use the ZY Vega app to connect to the lights via Bluetooth. To connect to the light, simply triple tap the power button, and then it will come up within the app through the Bluetooth settings. You can also upgrade the firmware using the provided app. The great thing with the app is you can connect more than one lamp. So if you're in a room with 3 or 4 of these lights, you can control all of their brightness using the top slider or individually using each of the ones that are listed under it. It's pretty cool. It's nice and easy, just simply slide it around to adjust the brightness. Up next, I want to showcase whether or not these lights are comparable to my current lighting setup once I put them in exactly the same place. So I've got a wide shot over here. I don't often shoot from this angle, but basically I've got a light on my desk which will remain on because it's basically only acting as a fill. As you can see, it just fills in on my face. It's not overly bright. My primary or key light is a Pixel P80, so we're going to replace that with one of these, and then I'm also going to replace the Colbor CL100 above my head over here, which has a reflector on it right now. So we're going to mimic the setup, but take a good look at how this looks right now, and we're going to change these lights over. Here we go. And now looking at the MOLUS lights in action. So my primary light in place of this big Pixel P80 LED light is the MOLUS X100 Pro at 10% brightness, 5600 Kelvin. Above my left shoulder over here, I was running the Colbor CL100, which is a fantastic light. It's very bright and I never run it anywhere near its maximum. The great news is, in place of that, I'm running the G60 at 44% brightness at 6500 Kelvin with the softbox. So I'm not using the reflector yet. We're going to switch it over in just a moment, but this is how it looks. And I'll put a side-by-side comparison up and let us know in the comment section whether or not you can see a huge difference between them. Ideally, I would white balance my cameras again, but I've set them up exactly the same as what I run on these lights just to check whether or not there's any major color shifts. I've just removed the mini softbox off the G60 and I'm completely overexposed. It's so much brighter without the softbox, which is expected. So the reflector makes a massive difference. I need to turn it down. And now I've got correct exposure in the room by setting the G60 to 10% brightness. 10%, so it's got plenty of headroom left. And at 40% with the standard reflector, it was just far too bright. But I think this looks great. Looking at my reference screen here in the room, this should look every bit as good as the lights I was using before. Given there's differences in the functionality and all that kind of stuff, if you plan on using these in a studio environment, you can get these type of results really quickly. Now, if you plan on getting a really moody lighting look, you can do that absolutely with these lights. So this is 1% brightness at 5600 Kelvin. Take a look at this. I think this looks fantastic. I should light my set more like this sometimes. I think it's great. This is with it off or down, just so you can see the difference. And back at arm's length. Awesome. I'm next going to show you a really great feature. You can have this light respond to sound or music, whatever the case may be. So right now I've got it set to 14% at 6500 Kelvin. If we hold in the CCT button over here, it's going to change it from CCT to music. So now as I talk, the lamp is going to respond. Now this will depend on how loud you talk. If I'm not as loud, it won't respond. But as I raise my voice, it's going to be activated. So if you're playing loud music, you can have this flash to the beat. Fan noise is also extremely low. Unless you're positioning it right next to a shotgun microphone, you won't hear it whatsoever. From a distance of about a meter back, you're not going to hear it in the room whatsoever, and it wouldn't affect my microphone, which is right out of shot. Another benefit to these lights is the included accessories. Whether you use or purchase the G60 or the X100, you have everything you need to get started, except for a light stand. You'll need to buy that separately. The MOLUS X100 Pro comes complete with a quick start guide, mini reflector, carry bag, storage bag, battery, and mini softbox that mounts directly on Zhiyun's ZY mount. If you want to use your own softbox, a Bowens mount adapter is also included, which is great. The G60 also comes with most of the same accessories as the X100, but with the addition of this little handheld tripod stand that screws directly into the bottom. This is really handy when moving it around on the fly or positioning it on a table for a product shot or live streaming, whatever the case may be. The G60 also comes with a diffusion dome that can be placed directly on the light itself. The only thing you don't get in the pack, as I mentioned, are the taller lighting stands. You'll need to purchase those separately. I'll leave some recommendations down in the description below if you're thinking about using these in a studio situation. Not everyone buying these will be using them for the same job, so it's not a deal breaker you don't get them in the pack. The reflectors are great for directional lighting, and the softbox or diffusion dome is perfect for softer lighting. Softer lights are generally nicer for studio situations like this, or when filming product shots, as you won't get harsh shadows. Now, there's no hard and fast rule. You can use either based on your own needs and the look that you're going for. I like that we don't need to buy anything else to get either look. This is appreciated. Let's wrap this video up. I'm going to give you my final thoughts. I shoot a lot outside of my studio, especially on my other YouTube channel. This means I have a bunch of gear that I need to pack and anything to help keep the size and weight down is a huge benefit. Having functional and lightweight cob lights that I can throw into a car and set up and power in various scenarios is awesome. I can see these being used the next time I shoot my Guitar Shop series on my other channel. The days of bringing larger and more fragile softboxes are officially over. I like how simplistic these lights are to operate, and the results look nice to my eye. While neither of these two are as powerful as some of my other studio lights, I only run them at a fraction of the light here in the studio anyway, so these will be bright enough for most YouTube studio setups. A massive thanks to Zhiyun and Ozemu for sending these out for the review. I really appreciate it. I've never seen lights as small as these be so powerful, and considering just how physically small they are, they're really worth checking out if you're looking for something lightweight and portable. If you want to check them out, I'll link them down in the description box below. Thanks again for watching, and I will catch you soon. See ya.